Wendy Andriano. In the early hours of October 8, 2000, a distress call was placed from a modest apartment in Phoenix, Arizona. Wendy Andriano reported her husband, Joe Andriano, gravely ill and unresponsive. Joe, battling terminal cancer, had been under Wendy's care. However, the scene responders encountered told a story not of natural decline, but of unimaginable betrayal. Evidence revealed that Wendy had administered sodium azide, a lethal chemical, in an attempt to poison Joe. When this failed, she resorted to bludgeoning him with a bar stool and inflicting a fatal stab wound. The brutality of the act, coupled with Joe's weakened state, painted a grim picture of premeditation and cruelty. In 2004, she was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. As her execution date approached in February 2025, Wendy maintained her innocence, expressing remorse for her husband's death, but denying culpability. For her last meal, she requested a vegetarian pizza, a side salad with Italian dressing, and a slice of cheesecake. In her final statement, she said, "I am deeply sorry for the pain caused. I did not kill my husband." Her execution was carried out by lethal injection. Christy Michelle Scott. In the early hours of August 16, 2008, a devastating fire engulfed the Russellville, Alabama, home of Christy Michelle Scott. While she and her younger son escaped unharmed, her 6-year-old son Mason tragically perished in the blaze. Investigators soon uncovered unsettling details. Just 12 hours before the fire, Scott had secured a $100,000 life insurance policy on Mason, adding to existing policies totaling $175,000. Further scrutiny revealed a history of suspicious fires linked to Scott, including incidents at her father's and grandmother's homes. Notably, in 2005, her own house caught fire twice in 1 week, though arson was never confirmed. During her trial in June 2009, prosecutors argued that Scott had intentionally started the fire to claim the insurance money. Despite her protests of innocence, the jury found her guilty on 3 counts of capital murder: one for the murder of a child under 14, another for murder during arson, and a third for murder for pecuniary gain. The jury recommended life imprisonment without parole. However, on August 5, 2009, Judge Terry Dempsey overrode this recommendation, citing the heinous nature of the crime, and sentenced Scott to death by lethal injection. Michelle Lynn Michaud. In the late 1990s, Michelle Lynn Michaud and her partner, James Anthony DeVeggio, embarked on a series of heinous crimes across California. Their modus operandi involved abducting young women using a specially equipped van designed for assault. This crime spree culminated in the December 1997 kidnapping and murder of 22-year-old Vanessa Leigh Sampson, a college student from Pleasanton. Sampson was forcibly taken into their van, where she endured unimaginable torture, including sexual assault with curling irons, before being strangled to death. For her last meal, she requested fried chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy, and a chocolate milkshake. In her final statement, she expressed, "I am sorry for the pain caused, but was led astray." Her execution was carried out by lethal injection. Shauna Fordy. In May 2009, the quiet community of Arivaca, Arizona, was shattered by a brutal home invasion orchestrated by Shauna Ford, a self-proclaimed leader of the Minutemen American Defense, an anti-immigration vigilante group. Ford, seeking funds for her organization's Border Patrol activities, targeted the home of Raul Jr. Flores, believing he possessed drugs and money. Under the guise of law enforcement, Ford and her accomplices forced their way into the Flores residence during the early hours. The intrusion escalated into violence, resulting in the tragic deaths of Raul Flores, aged 29, and his 9-year-old daughter, Brisenia Flores. Brisenia was shot as she pleaded for her life, a chilling testament to the brutality of the crime. The case drew national attention, highlighting the dangers associated with extremist anti-immigration groups. In 2011, Ford was convicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. As her execution date approached in February 2025, Ford maintained her innocence, portraying herself as a political prisoner. For her last meal, she requested a cheeseburger with fries, a chocolate milkshake, and a side of jalapenos. In her final statement, she declared, "I am innocent of these crimes. History will judge the true criminals." Her execution was carried out by lethal injection. Kathy Lynn Saranana. On December 25, 2005, the festive atmosphere of Corona, California, concealed a harrowing tragedy within the Saranana household. Kathy Lynn Saranana and her husband, Raul Ricardo Saranana, had taken in their nephews, Conrad Morales, 13, and Ricky Morales, 11, from Fresno, seeking a fresh start. However, this new beginning devolved into a nightmare of relentless abuse and neglect. The investigation unearthed a pattern of severe physical abuse inflicted upon both boys. Tragically, Conrad's body was later found in a storage unit in Texas, revealing the extent of the cruelty they endured. In June 2009, Kathy Saranana was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death for her role in Ricky's death. Raul Saranana received a death sentence for Conrad's murder. As her execution date in February 2025 approaches, details regarding Kathy's final meal request and last words remain undisclosed. The tragic fate of Conrad and Ricky Morales serves as a somber reminder of the vulnerability of children and the profound betrayal they suffered at the hands of those entrusted with their care. 6 women, 6 final moments. Some begged for mercy, some went to their deaths in silence, others held on to their defiance until the very end. Their crimes were brutal, their punishments irreversible, but in their last hours, they were no longer killers or convicts, just humans facing the inevitable. Their last meals, their final words, the final choices before a fate that no appeal could change. Justice or cruelty, redemption or retribution. The executions are over, but the debate on the death penalty, that will never die. Throughout history, the execution of female inmates has been a rare and profound event, often stirring deep societal reflections on justice, morality, and redemption. In March 2025, the United States is scheduled to execute several women, each with a unique narrative that has captivated public attention. As these individuals approach their final moments, their last meals and final words offer intimate glimpses into their minds and souls. Join us as we delve into the stories of these women, exploring the crimes that led them to death row and the choices they made in their concluding hours. Velma Barfield, known as Death Row Granny, holds the notorious distinction of being the first woman executed in the United States after the 1976 reinstatement of the death penalty. Her case is a chilling tale of betrayal and concealed darkness. Born in 1932 in rural South Carolina, Velma Barfield's early life was marked by hardship and loss. Married at a young age, she faced the challenges of poverty and domestic instability. Following the death of her first husband in a suspicious house fire, Barfield's life spiraled into a series of tragic events, including the death of her second husband under similar circumstances. It wasn't until the death of her fiancé, Stuart Taylor, in 1978, that authorities uncovered a pattern of arsenic poisoning linked to Barfield. She confessed to the murders of Taylor and her own mother, among others, citing her addiction to prescription drugs as a catalyst for her actions. During her time on death row, Barfield underwent a profound religious transformation, becoming a devout Christian. She expressed deep remorse for her crimes and sought forgiveness from the families of her victims. Her conversion garnered significant attention, leading to appeals for clemency from religious groups and even the Pope. However, these appeals were unsuccessful. On November 2, 1984, Velma Barfield was executed by lethal injection in North Carolina. For her last meal, she requested a simple assortment: a bag of cheese doodles and a 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola. In her final moments, Barfield expressed gratitude to those who had supported her spiritual journey, stating, "I want to say that I am sorry for all the hurt that I have caused. I know that everybody has gone through a lot of pain, all the families connected, and I am sorry. And I want to thank everybody who has been supporting me all these 6 years." Barfield's case continues to evoke discussions about the death penalty, redemption, and the complexities of human behavior. Heather Levell Keaton. In the heart of Mobile, Alabama, a harrowing tale of child abuse and murder unfolded, leading Heather Levell Keaton to become the first woman sentenced to death in Mobile County. In 2010, the partial skeletal remains of 4-year-old Natalie DeBlaze and her 3-year-old brother, Chase DeBlaze, were discovered in secluded wooded areas across Alabama and Mississippi. Investigations revealed a chilling pattern of abuse. Natalie was allegedly poisoned with antifreeze, bound with duct tape, and confined in a suitcase for extended periods. Similarly, Chase endured severe mistreatment, including being taped, gagged, and forced to stand in a corner overnight, leading to their tragic deaths. Levell Keaton, the children's stepmother, was implicated alongside their father, John DeBlaze, in these heinous acts. The couple's relationship began in 2008, and by 2009 they were living together with the children. Witnesses recounted instances of Levell Keaton's abusive behavior, including binding the children with duct tape as a form of punishment. In May 2015, Levell Keaton stood trial and was convicted of capital murder for Chase's death and reckless manslaughter for Natalie's. The jury recommended the death penalty, a sentence upheld despite multiple appeals. In June 2023, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to review her case, solidifying her fate on death row. As her execution date in February 2025 approaches, details regarding Levell Keaton's final meal request and last words remain undisclosed. The tragic deaths of Natalie and Chase serve as a somber reminder of the profound consequences of unchecked abuse within a household. Aileen Wuornos, often called America's most infamous female serial killer, was executed in 2002 for the murders of 7 men in Florida between 1989 and 1990. Wuornos, a hitchhiking sex worker, claimed she acted in self-defense against violent clients. Her case drew widespread media attention, inspiring documentaries and films. During her trial, she initially pleaded self-defense but later confessed, claiming she killed for financial gain. Diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, Wuornos became increasingly unstable in her final years, renouncing her legal appeals and demanding to be executed. On October 9, 2002, Wuornos was executed by lethal injection in Florida. She declined a traditional last meal, opting only for a cup of black coffee. Before her execution, she made a chilling final statement. "Yes, I would just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back, like Independence Day, with Jesus. June 6th, like the movie. Big mothership and all. I'll be back." Her execution remains one of the most controversial in U.S. history, raising questions about mental illness, the justice system, and society's treatment of female offenders. Karla Faye Tucker's journey from a life of violence to one of faith and repentance remains one of the most compelling narratives in the annals of capital punishment. Her story challenges perceptions of justice and the possibility of transformation. Born in 1959 in Houston, Texas, Karla Faye Tucker's early years were marred by neglect, substance abuse, and a descent into a lifestyle fraught with crime. In 1983, during a drug-fueled burglary, Tucker and her accomplice brutally murdered Jerry Lynn Dean and Deborah Thornton using a pickaxe. The heinous nature of the crime led to her swift conviction and death sentence. While on death row, Tucker experienced a profound spiritual awakening, embracing Christianity with fervor. She became an emblem of redemption, engaging in ministry work and earning the support of various religious communities. Her transformation sparked international debates about the death penalty, particularly concerning reformed individuals. Despite widespread appeals for clemency, including from global figures and some victims' families, the state of Texas proceeded with the execution. On February 3, 1998, Karla Faye Tucker was executed by lethal injection. For her last meal, she requested a banana, a peach, and a garden salad with ranch dressing. In her final statement, Tucker expressed remorse and hope, saying, "I am going to be face to face with Jesus now. I love you all very much. I will see you all when you get there. I will wait for you." Tucker's execution marked the first time in over a century that Texas had executed a woman, reigniting discussions about gender, justice, and the potential for personal transformation within the penal system. Amber McLaughlin became the first openly transgender person executed in the U.S., a case that stirred debate on justice and identity. In 2003, McLaughlin was convicted for the stalking, rape, and murder of her ex-girlfriend Beverly Gunther in Missouri. She ambushed Gunther outside her workplace, stabbed her repeatedly, and dumped her body near the Mississippi River. In 2006, a judge sentenced McLaughlin to death after the jury deadlocked. While on death row, McLaughlin transitioned and later sought clemency, citing childhood trauma and mental health struggles. Despite advocacy from LGBTQ+ groups and legal teams, the request was denied. On January 3, 2023, McLaughlin was executed by lethal injection in Bonne Terre, Missouri. For her last meal, she requested a cheeseburger, fries, a strawberry milkshake, and peanut M&Ms. In a final statement, she expressed remorse, writing, "I am sorry for what I did. I am a loving and caring person." Her execution marked Missouri's first of a woman since 1953, sparking ongoing discussions on the death penalty, gender identity, and redemption. The stories of Velma Barfield, Karla Faye Tucker, Aileen Wuornos, and Amber McLaughlin serve as haunting reminders of the profound complexities within the human experience and the criminal justice system. Their final meals and last words offer intimate glimpses into their souls, reflecting remorse, defiance, or acceptance. As society continues to grapple with the ethics and implications of capital punishment, these narratives compel us to reflect on justice, redemption, and the enduring quest for understanding.